Before we dive into what this show is, Jay, player ratings, just going to do a chat about the final and the fact, obviously, we've reached that now, back to Anfield South, back to Wembley, and the significance of it, you know, what it means, what it could potentially mean. We touched on this pre-match, me and you in there. And listen, Liverpool absolutely wiped the floor with Spurs tonight, let's have it right. So clearly there was an intention. You could see it from the team that he named. Obviously, he was allowed to do that a little bit by PSV last week, moving into Plymouth this weekend. It was the perfect sweet spot in terms of the time in the game and what have you. But he went strong. He went really strong. He went serious in terms of his selection. But there's an opportunity here, Jay, for Arne Slot. We all hope and dream that the possibilities are endless for this campaign, let's put it like that. But in terms of early trophies, in terms of that early marker, in terms of the early statement, there's a potential to springboard off the back of that and say, okay, that's one piece of silverware, not the priority, but we've done that. We can tuck that away for another day. What's next? That feels like sort of the best way to approach all of this, really. But now we're in the final. That has to be the outlook.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to another League Cup final. It's very much Liverpool's trophy, isn't it? Like, if you look back, some of our greatest teams in the 80s, we won it loads of times in the early 80s. It's actually the first trophy I can remember. It was 95 Coca-Cola Cup, I think it was then. Steve McManaman, that's going 30 years ago. Deary me. But even if you look at, like, you know, the great City side of the last few years, they were winning the League Cup every year. It's a good, I know it's the least prestigious of the four. Liverpool we've got more than anyone else, it is very much our trophy. I'm glad that we're continuing in that vein. Hopefully Arne can get his first one. Newcastle obviously going to be no pushovers, but they're on a massive trophy drought, so they struggled last time when they got to the final against Manchester United. Yeah, great performance tonight. I'm just so pleased to be back to Wembley after what happened last year. I was just having a little bit of chat with my mates on WhatsApp, and we were saying, like, oh, it's Liverpool getting serious season. I was like, you know what? It's being hungover in work season after Liverpool have been mustered, which is, if you're going to be hungover in work, is the best possible reason to be. Because we had quite a big one last year when we, as a city, as a fan base, when we won the League Cup. Yeah, it was only the League Cup in inverted commas, but it ended up being such a brilliant day, brilliant moment for Jurgen Klopp, and hopefully we can have a similar one for Arne. First one on the board for Arne. First of many this season. The sky's the limit at the moment.
How much importance, how much weight do you put into that first one for Arne? Because again, obviously we all hope and dream that there's more to come literally this season, let alone in future seasons to come under Arne, because the start to life he's made has been so impressive that you would imagine this could be a long sort of silverware-laden, trophy-laden love affair. However, that first one, to tick that off and just to get that under your belt and go, okay, that's a little bit of pressure off. You know, he'll learn how to navigate finals. He'll learn what it's like to win trophies for this football club as well, which will feel different to anything he's done previously too. There's a lot of real positive reasons other than the tangible winning a trophy. And as you rightly say, Liverpool's history and record with the League Cup is very, very impressive too. Literally the holders right now, so I want to defend that. But it does feel almost more significant for Slot than anything else.
Yeah, a lot of people make the Mourinho comparison because he won it in his first year at Chelsea, but I think it's a good one because it's one where you can say, obviously, Slot's not come in with the same sort of arrogance and, like, you know, bravado and all that Mourinho did, but Mourinho put a marker down there and went, I'm not a pretender. I'm the real deal. We're a serious side. We're gonna go on to win big things, and they did, you know. And Arne's got that chance. It's a chance. Not that he isn't taken seriously now, but all of this kind of cry-arsing in the last couple of weeks from Arsenal fans and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, if Arne just comes in and wins the first trophy that he's got available to him, I think people are going to have to accept that this Liverpool team is really, really good, and there's not a conspiracy, and there's not this, and there's not that, and it's not we haven't had that many injuries, and there's not, we are really, really good, and we are really well coached by a very, very good coach.
Well, but serial winners to me are serial winners regardless of what the winning looks like. By which I mean, again, you have your priorities. When you set about a season, it's Champions League, Premier League, in that order, or flip it, however you view it, whatever. FA Cup follows some way after. The League Cup has kind of lost its way a little bit, it feels like, in recent years, as you rightly say. I've spoken to past players and they put a lot more sort of emphasis and priority in terms of winning that League Cup, maybe because of what it allowed them to do in the back end of the season, but whatever. But I do wonder, with Slot, it does feel like we are geared up to be a winning machine, and that looks like winning any piece of silverware. Looks like winning absolutely. And if he can just collect trophies along the way, regardless, because as you rightly said earlier on as well, mate, like City made a habit. I mean, 4 years on the spin, they won this, and then he went on to win other stuff thereafter more often than not as well. So it breeds winning. That mentality, you can't find that on a training pitch. You can't buy that very often. You have to do that as a squad. It's a taught thing that you do together, and you learn how to get through this together and navigate your way through cup competitions, and finals themselves are a different beast sometimes too. Like, it's going to be a big occasion, one a lot of our players will thankfully have experienced, maybe less so on the Newcastle front, so maybe that stands us in good stead as well. But yeah, winning finals and winning big games of football is not straightforward to everyone. So having a manager or a coach, in Arne Slot's case, that's capable of doing that, and having a squad that's built for purpose for that, is a really impressive and important trait in many ways. So I've always been of the mindset and the mentality that you go out, you set out to win all four. The quad every single season. You fall short more often than not, because obviously, you know what I mean, the rigours and the strains of doing it on the squad just prove too much. We've fell foul of that more often than not. Obviously, we're sort of front and centre of that conversation. But yeah, I don't prioritise League Cup by any stretch, but I don't begrudge it. I don't turn my nose up at it either. You know what I mean? Absolutely not. And again, you touched on sort of the day and the occasion of it all. Boss, wonderful to see Liverpool travelling down to Wembley again. Something, our dads and granddads made a habit of. And we want to have them days too.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to go to the City semi-final the other year when we were 3-0 up. It was just like when we were 3-0 up at half-time, and when that third goal goes in, there's flares going off, there's smoke bombs going on. I know they're all banned from the ground, but when you see it, you can see it on the telly and you can hear it. It's one of the loudest renditions of LA, LA, LA. And you're in it and you're like, is it just me or is this unbelievable? And then you look back and you're like, yeah, it was unbelievable. And I liked what you said about serial winners, because I think I'm not trying to have this in any way come off badly against Jurgen Klopp. We could have been serial winners with him. We could have won more leagues. We got pipped. We got pipped to the post in the league, over 90 points. We all know how the story went. He lost his first couple of finals. He lost his first League Cup final. He lost his first Europa League final. Lost his first Champions League final. Maybe, I don't know. I'm dreaming big. We're really good. Like, maybe this can be the start. People made the Paisley comparison as well, and like, again, a ridiculous bar for Slot. Although he wouldn't say it's ridiculous, because all the time in his press conferences he's saying, this is Liverpool, we need to expect the very best. Paisley comes in after the club was transformed by Shankly and becomes a serial winner. Fingers crossed this could be the same again, whereas Klopp has given us those incredible moments. But I think we all, when he said he was leaving, we wanted to win as many trophies as possible for him. I think we all feel like those players, I mean, don't know what's happening with Mo, don't know what's happening with Virgil, all that. They deserve another league title or two, another European Cup, maybe another. They deserve a few more honours next to them. So if this can be the start of that sort of era, then, I'm all for it.
No, 100%. Yeah, and those managers you mentioned there, and other ones of yesteryear as well, Liverpool made a habit of picking up trophies and the League Cup. So, yeah, again, obviously Newcastle, really difficult opponent, of course. They're banging form right now. They've got dangerous players. Alexander Isak, absolutely at forefront of that conversation. And again, their desperation to win something will be absolutely through the roof. It's slightly different for us, given we have been, regular trophy winners in recent years, but still, there'll be a desire, and a really strong desire from Arne Slot to, again, tick that box early on as Liverpool tenure and just move on seamlessly.